Is not. Okay, yeah. Steve is not. So look back. Bill took all my chips. So Bill didn't buy in, or sorry, he didn't take the add-on, but he must have won a big pot against Steve is not, who did take the add-on. That's what is making sense to me there. Am I right by saying that, Steve? Bill Curran is a cunning fox. Bill Curran says, I don't need an add-on. I'm just going to win this tournament without any add-ons. I'm going to take these guys down without spending any money whatsoever. Though he did have to buy the original buy-in. Only 2 places played in this tournament. Winner gets $3.85, which is not a bad return on investment. Flop top pair here. Gonna put in a small bet. I want to get some value for my hand. I have the Queen of Diamonds, which is, unless he has the 8 of Diamonds, I can go for the runner flush draw. The King brings me another pair, so I've now got top 2 pair. Definitely would say I'm ahead here, and losing to Ace Jack, obviously. I'm not too sure if any to win would have Ace Jack in this position. Or could he have 2 diamonds? Or could he have trips? It's possible. Anything is possible. And any to win does fold. That was a good fold, any to win. Yeah, so we got the mouse back on the wheel. Back on the little power wheel. Keep that wheel turning, mouse. But look, at these things happen. It's the first time that all the other streams went very well. First time it started crashing on me. Here we are in the cutoff with Ace 2 of Diamonds. Doesn't flop very well very often. So I'm kind of glad any to win here decided to just kind of limp in. So I can limp along. Flop is no help to me whatsoever. So I'm going to happy to let this one go. Still the chip leader, which is surprising considering that I'm not really paying attention to what's going on. It's an enjoyable tournament so far. I think Sunny Bay 6 from India won this tournament last week, but he's not here this week to defend his title. Wow, Bill Curran showing a 2 there, so he had absolutely got the nuts in that hand. $10-8 under the gun, gonna let that one go. board comes out. Ace 5 2. Check, check, back to the turn, which brings the 4 of spades. Check again brings the 4 of diamonds. It's a pot of 675 chips, so it's a case of who wants it more. And obviously Bill decides that it wasn't for him. Bill not here. This pot here, he decides to make a min raise. Takes the pot down uncontested. And we have the limits jumping up again. The limits are now $250, $125 with a $30 ante. So I only expect to see another half hours of play or so in this tournament. It's 10 to 6 in the evening now. I think by 6:30 we should be done. Multi-way pot brewing here. Let's see what Steve Hitzik decides to do. He only needs to call another 125 chips to see the flop. It's a great price to just call. And then it's up to Bill Curran if he just wants to check. Action now on Steve Hitzik. He's out of position and he's having to think about this, so he might have a hand that's a very good hand and he wants to tin down the field. He doesn't want to go to the flop multi-way. He'd rather go to the flop maybe heads up. Yeah, Dodgy, we're back. I got rid of the mouse and I just popped out and got a hamster instead. I think the hamster is going to do a better job. These bets are all really small, guys. Why are you all betting so small? I think we might just have to take advantage of that. Start punishing you guys and showing a bit more aggression. Can't really show too much aggression with 3-10, so I'm going to let that one go. Blind on blind action now between TJ Vancouver and Steve Isnot, who decides to go all in. So I'm going to put him on jacks plus. Jacks, queens, kings, aces, ace king maybe. TJ Vancouver could afford to call here and still have maybe 4,000 chips left. 4,100 chips left. But decides it's not worth it, so he gives it up. It was a blind on blind battle. Early 3x raise here from any two wins, so to me that would signal strength. A good starting hand for any two win. Of course, he has the blinds coming through to him, so just by making that aggressive move, he has earned himself another orbit. Ace King here too against any of the short stackers like Steve Hitzik. I'm definitely going to be calling. Steve Isnot might come along, so yep, definitely can't see myself folding this here. And I haven't, Steve Hitzik, I haven't dominated. He needs a jack, and we split the pot. Wow, we split the pot with 2 8s on the board. So, as they say, as Stape says, everybody loves a chop pot. Probably a fair result. There's a tray 10 again, and again I'm going to be letting it go. think when everyone's betting so small here and playing so timidly, it's hard to, when you do have a good hand, it's probably just going to be hard to get any value for it. Because hard to get extract any chips out of these guys. It's going to get to the stage where in another minute we're going to be up to 300, 150 blinds. So the action is going to come hard and heavy now pretty soon. Can easily let this one go 9 juice in the cutoff. It's not a hand I want to go to a flop with. Steve Hitzik on the button. See what he decides to do. Decides to shove all in, so which, you know, you could do that with any kind of a hand here with a pretty wide range. He's got about 9 big blinds, a little over 9 big blinds. And now with the blind level going up again to 300, 150, he's got even less. Brings him down to about 6.5, 7 big blinds. Yeah, ace 10 off, you're right, Steve. Steve is not says for a range that you can play with 10 big blinds. It's pretty wide range. Any ace rag, I think. Bill Curran involved in a battle here with Steve is not. The board, the river card brings another jack, so there is a pair on the board. There's also a straight draw and a flush draw out there. Gonna just min raise this up with this blind level. Bill decides to come along and just elect to call me. And Steve is not decides to call me as well. I'm gonna try. Okay, Bill. I don't think Bill has got anything here. He just checks so quick. He just checks so quick that and now he decides to call me. That's hard to know. I'm gonna put him on a decision here. I still think I'm good with my ace king. Wow, the river card just brought Bill Curran gin. He rivered a straight. Yeah, the gay winner, the Queen Tree. Queen Tray. I've seen all of those, yeah. Can't remember where I saw them though, but I did see them somewhere. I think it was on the Poker School Online Facebook page. I think we had a question about what's your favourite hands, or like there was one with the Cowboys, like obviously the Cowboys, pocket kings, pocket rockets for aces, but what other names of hands have you heard? Yeah, and I've heard that as well. Okay, so Bill has now taken a sizable chip lead in this tournament. He's now up to 13k, 13,200. With King Queen here on the button, I might be good enough. So I definitely think I will be getting all my chips in the middle here. Especially with the next blind level, I'm only going to have 10 big blinds myself now. So it's time to widen that range and just to get a little bit more aggressive. Here's another hand where I just might have a pop at it. There's like 900 chips in the middle to steal. Any 2-win could call me. And I think he has got me covered, so he would take the bounty if he was to call me here and to win this hand. Any 2-win having a think about it. Of course, it's a coin flip. He doesn't know. I have no idea what I have. shows pocket fours and decides to fold. So it would have been a coin flip. And he says it was a massive overbet there. I'm not too sure. Like, I needed to really to show the aggression here and just to kind of lay it on the line. I think if I bet really small that you would have called me. And that moves puts me back up to second in chips. Still anyone's game, I think. I think even with Bill Curran's chip lead here, like with the way the blind levels are at the moment, things can change very quickly. Anything can happen. It's anyone's game. We did lose Wonder Woman, though, who was blinded out. So Wonder Woman playing very, very tight in today's game. King 5 offsuit, going to be happy to let that go. Yeah, maybe that was it, Dodgy. Maybe it was on Twitter as well. I definitely know I saw it somewhere. TJ Vancouver here decides to go all in. He's going to pick up 1,300 chips. Bill Curran cracking a few jokes in the chat on the table, which is good to see. At this here with the ace jack, I'm definitely going to let this go. We have an all-in shove from Steve Is Not. Andy to win decides that his hand is good enough to call that shove, and I'm deciding that the ace jack is good enough to fold. So we have jacks up against king queen. It's not a good flop for Any to win. The queen comes out on the flop and he hits a king on the river, so that sends Any to win to the rail. Good game, Any to win. You were unfortunate to run into for Steve Is Not to hit that overcard. He actually hit two of the overcards, but when you had pocket jacks, when you had a good pair. And I think like there was nothing wrong with the shove with or with the call with the pocket jacks, especially with what had you 7 or 8 big blinds. So I think that play was fine. These guys are turning my stream into an over 18 stream only. I think Bill got excited there when I mentioned cracking the whip. It's one of these Irish sayings that we have. Now down to 5-handed. 5 players remain. Bill Curran continues to be the big stack at the table. Steve Hitzik is in the unfortunate position of being the shortest stack at the table. That can all change very quickly though with a couple of double ups. I know one thing, and I can give you a preview of it. Well, not a preview, but I can just kind of fill you in on what's going on without giving away too much. I know Poker School Online are working on a new series of poker jokes, so we'll be bringing those out in the near future, and you'll have the opportunity to. There'll be 52 jokes, and you'll have the opportunity to vote on your favourite one, which should be fun. Somehow I managed to take that pot down with the queen tray. Yeah, so we'll have a whole lot of new poker jokes coming for your way at Poker School Online. Expect them to roll out sometime in May or maybe early June. Maybe we should get Joe Stapleton, Stapes, on board. He can deliver the punchlines. Now, Joe Stapleton is a keen amateur comedian. Funny guy. TJ Vancouver winning that pot. The Queen 4 can let that one go. Steve is now putting in a hefty raise. About a 2.5, a little less than a 2, maybe a 2.2x raise. It's a bet of 1300 chips, and it's going to leave TJ Vancouver very short stacked if he calls. So if he's deciding to play this, he'd be better off just to ship it all in, I think. But he does elect to fold. Move on to the next hand. I fold Queen 4 offsuit. Steve Hitzik going all in, so he's putting his tournament on the line. And he does get a call, and we've pocket fives up against Ace King. And Steve Hitzik's hand is holding for now, and it does hold. So he doubles up. Nice hand, Steve. Picks up another hand here because he goes all in again. So back-to-back all-ins from Steve Hitzik. Represents strength, and you know, there's nothing wrong with getting two good hands in a row. It's quite possible he could have aces this time. So this would mean a huge call for Steve is not to call this, and he does decide to fold. And I think probably a correct fold unless you've got a really, really premium hand. I think that puts me as the short stack at the table. Big bet there by TJ Vancouver. I've got ace 5, but I'm going to fold it. Very soon now I'm going to I've got 10 big blinds left, so it's kind of a push fold game for me now. I'm going to push with a very wide range of hands. And just high five the screen, hope for the best. That's all we can do in these spots. But I think Steve Hitzik, TJ Vancouver, we're all in the same spot. So like I can completely understand why Steve is pushing here with a wide range of hands. It's what's needed to be done, I think. TJ Vancouver deciding to fold. Had to think about it. Seven deuce of spades. I won't be playing that. I do get to see a free flop. Kind of make a ridiculously kind of a big bet here when I've hit nothing. Steve is not might see through my bluff, and he does call. So that ain't good for me. So I think I should just easily just give this one up. No other cards that have come have helped me in any way whatsoever, so it's a check fold all the way. And I expect Steve is not to have a 9 or a jack there. That kind of bad bluff move that went wrong has crippled me. The blinds come through again very quickly when we're 5-handed. I will be shoving this all in, regardless of the action before me. Everybody else at the table has got me covered, so if some guy has a better hand than me, calls me, he will pick up the bounty. Steve Hitzik decides that his hand is good enough to call that. He has ace-jack, so it's a flip. I managed to double up, so Steve Hitzik doesn't hit his overcard. So my pocket tens held, which was nice. And like, yeah, as I was saying earlier, that the way the blind levels are now, that it's really turned into a push-fold game for every player at the table. Nobody really is that deep stacked enough that if they get involved in a hand, they're going to find all their chips getting into the middle, I think, before we get to the river. So it really is push-fold. An enjoyable game, it has to be said. Steve Hitzik shoving in, all in pre-flop. He's in the cut-off position. Both TJ Vancouver and Steve is not have him covered. So this will be Steve Hitzik's tournament on the line if he does get called. He doesn't get called, so he manages to pick up the blinds and the antes. With the 6-7 suited here, this will be a lovely hand here to get called. Ace-jack from Steve Hitzik up against Bill Curran's pocket tens. Pocket tens are ahead, and pocket tens hold. So we lose Steve Hitzik. Steve, good game, man. You played really, really well. And I think with the pocket tens, that was... oh no, you didn't have the pocket tens. With the ace-jack suited, though, that was the correct thing to do. Here I'm going to fold to Steve is Not's all-in shove with my king-9. On the button with 5-jack offsuit, ain't going to get too fancy here either. Now that we're 4-handed, only 2 spots get paid in this tournament. There was a small entry, only 7 players entered. So 2 spots get paid. We're down to the last 4, as you can see. And Bill Curran reclaiming that chip lead that he's held for most of this tournament, it has to be said. So Bill playing exceptionally well. And Bill must have a very good hand here too with that's a 3x raise from Bill. I'd be tempted to call. Very tempted, but I think a fold was the right thing to do there. Blinds are going to come through me again too pretty soon, so I won't be folding those hands too often. In that spot there I decided to fold, but you know, I think the next time round I'm going to be getting it in with those type of hands. I can't afford to just keep folding and getting blinded out. And Bill Curran, it has to be said, playing exceptionally well. He's using the big stack that he has to his advantage. I'd say in about another 15 minutes or so, this tournament will be all locked up. I can't see it lasting too much longer than that. This is a weak hand here with the Jack 10, but I haven't shown too much aggression so far in this tournament, so I'm going to try and pick up some blinds and some antes. It might just buy me another round at the table. Hit bottom pair here, but now I hit a draw. I'm going to put in a small bet, the smallest bet possible. I do get called. A 2 or a 7 would be a beautiful card to come on the river. Preferably a black 2 or a 7. Okay, well we hit we hit a red 2. I'm going to call this, but I don't like the call. I could be in big trouble. We do split the pot. Okay, so fair result there against Bill for that one. I'd say Bill was pretty sure that he had me there. Bill sure playing well, as Any2Win has mentioned in the Twitch chat. A couple of double ups for me now would be nice. So yeah, just a quick recap on what we were saying earlier on. In about another hour 45 minutes, Dave will have a live training session on the Poker School Online Twitch channel, and he'll have Randy Nanonoko on as a guest. If you're free, do check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Post your questions. It's still not too late to post your questions for Randy in the forum. Post your questions in the forum and you have a chance to win a big bang ticket for the $5,000 guaranteed bang tournament, which is nice. King Queen stood here with being so short stacked. I think I just got a call. I could be behind, and Steve is not, has me dominated. So if TJ Vancouver folds here, which he does, and Steve, well, it's going to be a flip, but an ace does come out on the flop. And Steve is not takes down the hand, and he takes down the bounty. So nice hand, Steve is not. Okay, so let me bring the table back up, and we'll watch the remainder of the. It's going to take me a few seconds, guys, just to resize the table. Hope that OBS doesn't crash on me again. There we go. Yeah, so nice hand, Steve is not. I'll be shipping you that $1 Karma buck later, just as soon as this tournament finishes. Congratulations. It's up to you now, Steve is not, to figure out a way to pass it on to somebody else. You could do something in the forum, or you can do something on your own Twitch channel or on Twitter or something like that. So we'll stay railing this table now, and we'll just see who's going to take it down. So yeah, we're going to stay here, just rail the end of the tournament and see who takes it down. The TJ Vancouver pretty short stack now. He's on the money bubble, unfortunately, so only 2 spots, as I said earlier, only 2 spots get paid. I think TJ Vancouver is going to be all in here regardless. He just shove in his remaining chips. He gets called. And Bill looks like to have the better of it, but the ace on the river brings TJ Vancouver the straight, and he does get a double up. So that puts him right back into contention. So nice hand, TJ Vancouver. Blind on blind battle here. TJ goes in for the raise, puts in a lofty raise. Gets no action, takes down the pot uncontested pre-flop. But it does pick him up some extra blinds and antes. Every bit's going to help at this stage of the game. Like with the blinds and antes being at 800, 400, TJ Vancouver is still under 10 big blinds, so nobody's really got that big of a stack when you consider in big blind or in big blind stack size. Another ace comes out on the turn here. Backdoor flush makes it if anyone's got 2 spades. Again, TJ Vancouver putting in a pretty big raise. He does get called this time by Steve Is Not. It's a dry flop, which TJ Vancouver decides to just shove all in on the flop. But it is a dry flop, deuce 9-5. So this is putting Steve Is Not to a decision. He elects to call, so we have pocket jacks up against queen 10. Steve Is Not needing a queen, which he doesn't get it. And there we have it, TJ Vancouver, who only a few hands ago was the shortest stack at the table, is now our chip leader. So again, it's like what I was saying, anything can happen in poker. Any to win? No, I have no idea of what Felix's PSO parade is about. I didn't hear anything about it. I know Felix was streaming some 200NL cash game action on Twitch earlier, but I don't think he doesn't have a PSO live stream later. Dave is doing the PSO live stream. How are we doing today? Hey Brian.
Welcome back.
Hey Brian, how you doing? We have Brian that has jumped into TeamSpeak for a chat, I think.
Hey Paul, how's it going?
Yay Brian, how you doing, mate?
I had your sound on your stream so I can hear you talking, but the stream was talking to me at the same time, so I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, we've had a fun tournament here with Razor's One Book Bounty.
Nice.
And we just lost Steve Is Not in 3rd place, which was the money bubble. We only had 7 entries, so the top 2 guys get played. And we just lost Steve Is Not there on the bubble. So good game, Steve Is Not.
Nice.
And we're heads up now, Brian, with the wily fox Bill Curran from the UK up against TJ Vancouver from Canada. Bill has got him covered 2-1 on a chip lead. But only a few hands ago, Brian, TJ Vancouver...
You're on a bit of a delay, huh?
Yeah, there's a 2-minute delay.
I still show all 3 players. Okay.
Yeah, well, I put it because I was showing my card, so I had a 2-minute delay on it.
That makes sense. Then I was trying to figure out why you got a delay on when you're not playing. But yeah, I guess you were in the game to start with, huh?
Yep, I was there. Who busted me out? Can't remember. I'll have to look back on it to figure it out. I think it was Steve has not busted me out. I gotta remember, or gotta look it up. I owe the guy a karma dollar.
Your setup is always so clean and crisp. You know, when you had the Star Trek setup and now this one, it's always clean and crisp.
What I did was I took a screenshot of the PokerStars client and just kind of built all the other stuff around it.
Nice.
But I like to play around with different scenes and different setups.
Yep, I'm the same way. I run something different when I'm doing PSO stuff than when I'm doing my own playing on money sites. I have different setups for each.
I had trouble that it's going to be tough for me to export this to YouTube because OBS crashed on me 3 times during the stream.
Crazy. I had a problem. OBS crashed on me once yesterday.
Which was unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks. But you can't complain too much for free software.
Yeah, for sure. The whole service is great. Like, it doesn't, except for going turbo with Twitch, which is only $8 a month, which I'm not going to complain about either. It's a great service. Bill and Vancouver are having a good heads-up tussle here. Both of them got kind of a similar stacks, but the blind structure is pretty deep now. We're at 1,500 blinds. So both of them have only got maybe on average 10 to 12 big blinds. So it's kind of like once you get involved in a hand, that it can swing either way very quickly.
Yeah, not a lot of room for raising. If you raise, you're kind of almost committed.
Yep. Like when you joined only a few minutes ago, Bill had a 2-1 chip lead, and now TJ Vancouver's in the lead.
Nice.
So it can all change very quickly. I was telling the guys earlier on too about the war games. Telling them that if they have a home game club to get a team together and get their names in the hat, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. One of them's not decided yet because they have a qualifier set up because they have so many members, so they're going to have a satellite to pick their top 4.
Which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to go if you have a big club. It just, that way you don't look like, people are playing favorites and whatnot, but each club's got to make their own decision on that. But if I had a big home game club, that's probably the route I would go, is just put up a tournament and let the guys play, and the Final Four would be the Final Four.
I think if this is something that becomes a monthly event, then the home game clubs will get more time to get organised and get prepared for it.
For sure. Right now, in the foreseeable future, my plan is, and we'll get together on this at a later date after it runs to see how it goes, but if everything goes smooth and fun as I think it is, I definitely plan to run a second one about 6 months out. I don't really know if this is something we'll push monthly.
Okay.
But I'm looking at least twice a year, which would be the end of October, beginning of November, probably, for the next one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that's going to be a lot of fun. I decided this time round to go the patriotic route and have all of my team guys from Ireland. So I looked up what kind of what members from Poker School Online were from Ireland, and I contacted them either via PM or through Skype, and managed to get the team together that way. So we're playing for Country Pride as well.
Yep, I guess me, John, Chris, and Tony, we're going to be playing for PSO Pride because we don't want to get beat down by the members.
And hopefully Dave manages to get a team together from the live trainers, because I'd say many guys would like to have a pop at the live training team.
I'd like to have a pop at the live training team.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, let's be honest, the trainers, they are, for the most part, pretty top notch when it comes to poker. These guys know what they're doing, or they wouldn't be trainers here.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely would like to have a shot at some of the trainers, but I'll be honest, I'm ready to take a shot at anybody I can get their chips.
Like the likes of Garrett C23 there, I've seen all the fantastic results he had, but I've never had the chance to sit down with him at a table.
Yeah, I've never played with Gareth myself.
yourself, John, Dave have managed to play in the PSO home game clubs. But other than that, though, we rarely get the opportunity. I put an over-under, Brian, on what time this game would be finished, so I said 6:30 my time. We're now 2 minutes away from 6:30. And
Nice. It's definitely going to run much super longer because of the blinds.
Yeah, I'd say another 5 minutes max, and we'll have a winner. TJ Vancouver showing ace there, didn't get any action. I notice now that we've gone heads up, we're not seeing many flops. Most of the decisions are pre-flop decisions. It's either ship it or fold.
Yeah, and that's heads up play. It's you don't give your opponent a chance to see many flops because that's when you end up losing your hand.
Yeah, Dodgy wants me to give a shout out to his crew, which is We Are the Bankroll Grind crew. We do not forgive, we do not forget, I think is their motto. Which is pretty hard. Pretty harsh.
Got themselves a pretty nice team put together, it looked like.
Yep. And it's great to see. Like, the more teams we have in the war games, the better. The more enjoyment it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah, I thought the War Games was a good name for it because that's what it's going to break down to.
And I enjoyed your stream last night too, Brian, on the Tutuku Twitch stream. We had some enjoyable chat there.
Yeah, thank you much for coming in there. That was that worked out pretty good. Got a lot of different replies back between Twitter and Skype and private message in the forum. A lot of people were real happy. We didn't have super huge turnout, but we had enough members in there that they really enjoyed it, the ones that were there. Hope to be able to do that maybe in another month or two, down the road. Be something to go.
Yeah, it's a great chance for members too to come in and just ask questions there off the cuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we get feedback from it, so it works out good all around. It's just it was a really good session. It worked out really good. It was what I was aiming for when I approached you about doing it, and it ended up working out good. Having you and John in there was a big help too, because me and John pretty much know a lot of the outs of some stuff, and a lot of the outs of some of the other stuff. So giving the members a little feedback of what's coming and stuff that we don't so much have out there. Like I told them, the Series of Poker, we won't put that out there until mid-May at the earliest. But most of them that were bidding, but it was in the chat last night, they got a pretty good idea of what's to come.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, win-win, good stuff. Except the caffeine was missing out on my coffee. Man, I drank a bunch of coffee yesterday, and I was just dead tired when it started. I just couldn't get my eyes to focus or open.
Yeah, that can happen, and you can tiredness comes in waves.
And always at the wrong time.
Yeah, you could be fine, especially like I played a ton of tournaments yesterday during the day. And come that time last night, and I didn't feel the best either, so it was a combination between everything, but managed to get through it.
Yeah, I've been on a little break from poker. I burnt myself out. I was playing the equivalent of spin and goes, and I was putting up 120, 160 a day. But
Yeah,
a little bit of a breather
that's
there. 'Cause
a hell of a grind.
Yeah, it is, but it's been good for me. I've actually made not a lot of money, a little bit of money, but when I add in my elite benefits and stuff, it's turned out to be a pretty nice deal.
Sweet.